Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our webinar today. My name is Yvonne Harper, and I'm the Payroll Senior here at Benson Wood Chartered Accountants. I'd like to start by introducing Chris Parker-Brads, who's a Business Development Manager for Modular. Good morning, Chris, how are you?
I'm good, Yvonne. Sort of like I'm in the bright, sunny delights of London today rather than in Dunkeld, so yeah.
All right. Very good. Very good. Well, it's good to have you with us today.
Thank you.
So we're just going to start. So the topic today is Innovate and Update Your Payroll Processes. So the webinar has been recorded and will be published for anyone who is going to miss anything or would like to recap, and that can be sent out on request. It's also going to be on our website and it will be found on YouTube as well. We have a chat box for anyone who wishes to ask any questions, so feel free to ask any questions. There will be a Q&A at the end of the webinar, and we'll hope to answer as many questions as we can at the end. So what changes are happening in payroll? So for 22-23 tax year, we're finding various changes have come into play. I would say most controversial one would be the national insurance contribution changes. So we'll talk about that in a wee bit. So we've also got dividend tax, employment allowance, the national minimum and living wage, statutory sick pay, statutory maternity, paternity, adoption, parental bereavement, and the shared parental pay. So we'll start with national insurance contributions. It's been a hot topic across CIPP and various platforms as to whether it was to be introduced or not, and it was introduced. So this Hmrc are using this. It's a health and social care levy, and it's introduced on the 6th of April, where they've increased the national insurance rate for contributions made by employees, employers, and the majority of self-employed workers, and this has been increased by 1.2%. The increase affects everyone over the age of 16, but below the state pension age. So anyone earning £190 per week throughout their employment, which will rise in July to the £242. And self-employed businesses with profits of £9,880 or more in self-employment a year as well, and again that rises up to the £12,570 in July. So the 1.25% increase also applies to employer national insurance contributions, which is minus any reliefs that the business may be entitled to. For some, it's not being impacted. So class 2 contributions, this will not be applied to, which is the rate paid by self-employed with profits above the small profits threshold. And also class 3 national insurance contributions aren't being impacted either. This brings us on to the dividend tax and remuneration. So as of the 6th of April, the rates of dividend tax have also increased by the 1.25%. So this brings the basic rate up to the 8.25%, higher rate to 33.75%, additional rate to 39.35%. So for employers, from an employer's perspective, it may be more valuable to them to pay out in dividends more for their wages rather than through the payroll, because the dividend is not subject to the national insurance contributions. So owners do need to carefully consider that, and that's something that we could, if you do want to speak to our tax experts here at Benson Wood, by all means, please give us a call. So the spring statement brought some changes as well. So the primary threshold, the point at which employees start paying national insurance contributions, is being increased by the £3,000 from July. So this is bringing it in line with the personal tax allowance of £12,570. The change doesn't affect the secondary threshold, which is the point at which employers start paying national insurance contributions, which is slightly unfortunate for employers. Chancellor has also extended the annual employment allowance to eligible businesses by adding an additional £1,000, so taking it from £4,000 last year to £5,000 in the 22-23 tax year. So that would be a welcome bonus from the government. This brings us on to the national minimum and living wages. So again, lots of changes this year. So the national living wage is now £9.50. It's going up from £8.91. So that's an increase of 6.6%. The 21-22-year-old rate has gone up again by 9.8%, so quite high, to £9.18. The 18 to 20-year-olds has gone up by 4.1%, taking it to £6.83. And the 16 to 17-year-olds has gone up by 4.1% as well, taking it to the £4.81. The apprenticeship rate is going up to the same £4.81. That's a big jump of 11.9%. And please bear in mind that the apprenticeship rate is always only for the first year of their apprenticeship. So just bear that one in mind for anybody that you have in an apprenticeship, because after that first year, they would move on to the national minimum wage rate as per their age. So other key payroll changes to the rates. So all the statutory pay rates as well have been increased. So we have, again, from the 6th of April, the SSP was increased by £3. It's went up to £99.35. From the 3rd of April, the first 6 weeks of statutory maternity pay and statutory adoption pay remains the same at 90% of the employee's average weekly earnings. The statutory weekly rate for all weeks after this will be the lower of 90% of the average weekly earnings, or the £156.66, which is the new rate for these statutory payments. So again, statutory paternity pay, statutory shared parental pay, the statutory parental bereavement pay has also increased to the £156.66, or the 90% of the average weekly earnings, whichever is the lower of the two. So the minimum average weekly earnings required to qualify for the SSP or these family-related payments has also increased to the £123 per week. So it's gone up by £3 as well. So just a reminder to everybody that the statutory sick pay, so the coronavirus statutory sick pay rebate scheme has closed. The rules for that, where we were paying SSP from day one, has also changed. So we're reverted back to the 3 waiting days. So back to normal rules. So from your 4th day of sick pay, that's when your statutory sick pay would start to kick in. So just bear that one in mind. As I said, the statutory sick pay rebate scheme has closed and closed on the 25th of March. So we're no longer able to claim back statutory sick pay for those coronavirus related illnesses, absences, or self-isolations. So our preferred software that we use here at Benson Wood is Brightpay. Brightpay comes fully integrated with Hmrc and allows us to send all the RTI submissions, and the full auto-enrolment functionality is there also. So Brightpay gives employers access to an online employer dashboard remotely via the Brightpay Connect. And the Brightpay Connect app can be downloaded on phones. It allows employers to be on the go and approve payrolls and send through their wages, their hours. We can send a payroll input sheet, and that allows employers to send back the hours and wages for each week, whatever pay reference period they use, whether it's weekly, monthly, fortnightly, 4-weekly. So there's also lots of new and improved features, which includes the popular integration with popular accounting softwares. So we can send journals, we can create journals from Brightpay, and that allows us to send it in the formats for instance, Xero, Sage accounts, and various other platforms. So that would send that link directly into your accounting software for your bookkeeping purposes. There are also the new addition is modular, and modular is fully integrated with Brightpay, which is allowing fast and secure and easy ways to make payments. And this brings me nicely into introducing Chris, who is our guest speaker today. And I'm just going to invite Chris along to give us the full demo on how modular works. Chris, I'll hand over to you.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Yvonne. So hi and welcome. I'm speaking to you from Modular's offices in London, but actually we are predominantly a Scottish company based in Edinburgh with over 400 employees across the UK and into Europe now. So from that side, thanks very much, Yvonne, for your kind introduction. So as you can see, Modular specialises in payments, and we're actually one of the best kept secrets of where we are in with a lot of organisations already that you will probably be aware of. But certainly from our aspects, we do not at times come to the front. That's not what we do. We sit down from a technology point of view and develop fantastic APIs. And this is really where we focus on. So in background to Modular, most of you have already probably used what's known as faster payments at some point rather than BACS technology as it comes through. And this is what we fundamentally believe on, is payments in seconds rather than in days or weeks to fundamentally improve your cash flow. As you can see from this slide, you can see that there are a number of integrations which you might already be aware of. We also have another one with Brightpay. We also have another one with various different other partners as well. But as you can see, it gives you an idea that we actually power a lot of different systems, and we're trusted by a lot of different people to make payments reliably from that side. So if we look to move on now we talk about one of our biggest customers, which is Revolut. So some of you might be familiar with Revolut, and I always start as the example. So Revolut came to Modular, and fundamentally what they needed to do was to concentrate on growing their business. Now, that might sound quite familiar to a lot of you, because fundamentally, do you want to be making payments, or do you want to be focusing on, growing your business? So from that side, we would argue that a lot of you aren't very different than Revolut themselves in their early days. And what Modular does is, if you've used Revolut, you've actually already used Modular, because we power all of the payments that go between all the different accounts from that side. So if you've already used it, you've already got a nice key test there that's you've already done something nice and secure, and you've already seen how easy it is to do. So what I'm going to do now is take you on a little bit of a journey. I'm going to show you what Benson Wood are providing for you. Of once they've done your payroll, you will have a notification here to show that here's how you make your payments, and here's the safety processes that we put into place to make sure that everything is nice and smooth. So from that side now, I am going to share my screen. So what I'd like to imagine is that you've submitted your payroll through to Benson Wood. They've processed it promptly and nice and neatly for yourselves, and they will hit through Brightpay, send to Modular. Once that information's arrived to us, you will receive a prompt to come into your Modular account. The Modular is a fully regulated service. We don't borrow anyone else's license. We're very proud that we have our own EMI license direct with the FCA. We have a full compliance team, and we go through due diligence on course with everyone. As such, that means that we're already providing over 5,000 businesses across the UK this facility. And I think that's really important to remember, of where this product is incredibly well tested. And actually, we provide about 1.6 billion payments per month. So as I'm sure you can imagine, there's some significant numbers there. So from that side, once you've received that notification, you will come into your Modular portal, and you will see that there's a number of approvals for you to make. You click on approvals. And as you can see, there's a line-by-line list of each payment to go out. The reason that we do this is obviously sometimes we understand that businesses are in a rush and that sometimes, for instance, that Jane Smith, it might not have come through. I'm going to go back to the statutory sick pay here, Yvonne, sort of like that actually some people might need to be on statutory sick instead of being on their normal wage. And this just gives that final opportunity for yourselves as a business owner to do that check. So from that side, once you're ready and you're happy, and as you can see, this takes seconds, you can select all and you can hit approve. You can select all and hit reject and go, actually, there's just been, I'm sure this would never happen with you, with your team, Yvonne. But sort of like, if they go, oh my God, what have they done? Sort of like from that side, sort of like you have the opportunity to do that sanity check. Obviously, from that side, we're going to say for this instance that Jane Smith, that's not quite right. So you can actually select individuals to reject. You don't have to accept everything. So that's all nice and neat. But we're going to say in this case, Yvonne and her team have done a fantastic job. They Absolutely. Hit approve. They hit approve, and it will give you a summary. So a lot of you are probably quite used to going into your bank accounts sort of like and making line by line payments, which, let's be honest about it, is probably boring you to tears. And this is really for us sort of like of where we try to revolutionize the process of where we are talking. We do things in bulk. As such, you will approve 50 payments at once, and you will have a selected value for everything. All payments are made, we're going to say £80,000. You hit approve. And at this stage, sort of like there will be a pop-up on your phone, sort of like using the Authy authentication app to make sure that the process sort of like is fully secure and compliant sort of like with all regulations. Now, another subtle thing you might not know about Revolut is that what you might not know about Modular is that actually we're a principal MasterCard and Visa issuer. And the reason that that's important and the reason that I'm bringing it up is because, as I'm sure you can imagine, the data security protocols that we have to have in place to make sure that we can issue Visa and MasterCards of a very high standard. As such, you get this benefit as well. And you can see from this side, this is part of that benefit that's coming through to you. We're never going to ask you to do text messages. We're never going to ask you to do archaic card readers. All of our technology is less than 7 years old, and it was built to scale. To also give you another little wee piece about Modular and to give you an example of how we are recognized in the entire sector, PayPal have invested into Modular because they see our solution as one of the future. So you would hit approve. And from that side, that's part one of what we asked you to do. Nothing complicated. I would argue even if you had 80 to 120 employees, even going line by line view for a couple of seconds sort of by each time, it's a minute's worth of work for you to do that. If that minute is very valuable to you, sort of like you can have a relationship where Benson & Wood could act as your trusted advisors to approve those payments as well. But that is a conversation for yourself and Yvonne's team. So from that side, the next part we go on to is how the money trickles down. So we will provide you with a number of different e-money accounts. These are fully regulated. They are still your assets. They're not our assets. They're not Benson & Wood's assets. They are directly on your cash account. We'll give you an individual sort code and account number. So if you wanted one for Hmrc, you wanted one for payroll, you wanted one for supplier payments, we can facilitate that really nice and easily. Now, some of you, I'm going to guess, would prefer to get, well, actually, I'd just like to make the transfer for £80,000 from my mobile banking app. You can do that, and you just send the money to that account. Not literally this account, this account doesn't exist. I just want to make it clear. But from that side, you can make that transfer to that account really nice and easily. If you have a fairly static payroll figure, and I'm just going to say we'll just stick with standardly your payroll is about 40,000 a month. If you want to transfer 41,000 on a standing order to arrive a couple of days before, just to take that extra piece of worry off you, you can do. Because obviously around when most payroll figures, they vary a wee bit by a little bit of money each month. So you would transfer 41,000, the 40,040 pence would go out the next day, and then any funds would be swept back to your account afterwards. That's quite nice and easy. If you are having cash flow issues, and every business at times can have cash flow issues, Now you could potentially send the fund. I'm actually upset that I'm saying this out loud, and Yvonne is not going to thank me for this. But if you did say that you had payroll on the Friday and you wanted to schedule the funds to go out at 11:57, if you wanted to transfer the funds at 11:57 p.m. on the Thursday, within 90 seconds, those funds would be in your account. Now, obviously, I would never advise that, but it gives you the idea really fundamentally that Modular believes in payments in seconds, not weeks, as we've been used to with BACS on that side. So in this case, this would already be pre-filled. You select your bank account from that side in terms of if they're connected to the open banking network. You hit confirm. It takes you out to your standard open banking for your bank. All this information is pre-filled in terms of there, so there's minimal opportunities for data entry errors. And this is fundamentally one of the big key things for us, is that Benson Wood have subscribed to a solution which minimizes data entry errors. And that fundamentally for me is really good value for every business to have, because we all know the data entry errors do happen and they can cause significant problems. So from that side, you would enter in your standard customer identification with Nationwide. They go through the archaic card reader procedure. And the funds are in. That easy. As standard, we can say that we find it takes about 1:05, 1:10 is what we see our businesses spending on doing this each month. It's quite nice and easy. We try and make sure that it is as easy as possible. Obviously, I think that anyone's experienced a Hmrc fine, in terms of a late payment, the easiest thing to do is also to let Benson Wood make your Hmrc payments as well. Obviously, within Brightpay, there is the option that this can be done. And this means that fundamentally now we can transfer these funds and it would just be exactly the same procedure again. Now, standardly, we see people start with payroll and Hmrc transactions. And this is really the key thing here, of where actually, if we can, you like seeing that we get payroll right, because fundamentally payroll needs to be right every time. And that gives you confidence in Benson Wood of selecting the right solution, and also in ourselves that we mean what we say. Obviously, we already hear from our businesses that this is just making so much, it's just saving them so much time. And fundamentally from our side, we then had inquiries going, well, actually, we'd like to do our supplier payments as well, because it's just easier. So this is another part of the solution which works exactly the same as what you've seen that Benson Wood can also provide to you. So I'm going to end my part of this with, does anyone have any questions? I'm going to stop my screen sharing now, Yvonne, so if you want to reactivate your side.
Yeah. That's great. Thank you so much, Chris, for that.
That's all right.
So hopefully that's worked. Has that worked? Right. Sure. There we go. Back on. So
Lovely.
Thank you so much. Hopefully that's working. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. The one thing I would like to add about the modular as well, just whilst we're there, was that the subcontractors, we have subcontractors as well, and it was something that I wanted to make sure that everybody knew as well, is that subcontractors can also make their payments. Contractors can make payments to subcontractors through the software as well. So we process subcontractor payments each month. So that's also something that companies can bear in mind as well if they are in the construction industry. So thank you so much. So we'll just go to the questions, the Q&As. So let's have a look. So we'll see what we've got through the questions. So we're being asked, can employees access Brightpay, or is it only the employers through the portal? So employees can access Brightpay and they can access pay slips. So it's all e-pay slips. So there's no longer the need for stationery for pay slips anymore. We're all going paperless and everybody wants to be paperless. So We do have the functionality of the e-pay slips, so employees can either access via an email if they don't have an Android or Apple phone, but if they do have these devices, then they can download the Brightpay app to their phone, and this allows them to view their pay slips at any given point in time. They're released automatically as soon as we finalise the payroll and everything's been approved. They're released automatically to the employees' app. And P60s, P45s, and all of those get pulled through to that app. So everything's there, pension letters, anything documents that they need, and also employers can upload contracts of employment and things like that to it. So any documents that they want to add, it can be there for them. So yeah, that's basically the long and short of it.
I think, Yvonne, I'd just like to add that the rate of development that's going on from Brightpay, at the moment, is absolutely fantastic. They are, I would say, without a doubt, one of the top payroll providers in the UK. The team is fantastic, and I just want to highlight that, your clients should have such confidence in that you've selected them.
Yeah, totally agree with you. We were concerned about the start of the new tax year when the health and social care levy was coming in, because the government recommended that all pay slips have a little brief, which basically stays 1.25% uplift in NIC's funds, NHS, health and social care. So they were recommending that this, and we were thinking, oh dear, we've got a lot of pay slips to add this to. And Brightpay came along and they've uploaded it, and it's on instantaneously in all pay slips. So that was a big relief. So I must admit, Brightpay's, absolutely, they're on it. They're on all the changes that come through. They're making changes. They're upgrading. We get upgrade notifications through, and it comes through straight away. So no, I must admit it's very user friendly for employers. I'm finding we're sending through the input sheet to employers, and they're inputting the hours, or they're inputting the monthly salaries and making any changes, and they're sending it back across, and it's so user friendly for everybody. So I must admit, any feedback I'm getting, the employers so far are loving it, and they're loving being able to just go and access the app wherever on the go, and they can approve and give us the authorization to finalise the payroll. And as I say, we finalised the pay slips. Payroll, and the pay slips are released automatically. So there's just none of the old laborious ways of having to do things and print and all the pay slips and post them and send them out. So yeah, it's fantastic. I must admit, I've used various softwares throughout my career and for payroll, and I find it the most user friendly from an employer's point of view as well as from a payroll bureau point of view. So yeah, absolutely. Can't praise them enough.
That's fantastic to hear.
That brings us to the end of our webinar. So we are here to help, and if anybody does have any questions they think about later on, or they do want to speak to us, by all means contact our payroll on the email address there, or if you want to speak to us, by all means give us a call on the telephone number that's on your screen. We're here to help, and if you have any tax or accountancy queries, then also contact our accounts teams. So thank you very much, Chris, for joining us today. I really appreciate your time, and we will end our session there. Thank you so much.